Hello, friends. Hi, thanks for joining me today. Whoops, and I forgot my clapper once again. What's a clapper? My name's Dan Nelson, and I forgot to write on here. Daily Art Adventure number 623. Thank you for watching me today. I started this painting last Friday. Today's Wednesday. Did paint it on Friday, then I painted on Saturday, then I took the next several days off. And it's 4 by 6 feet. It's a painting, I think, let me show you. There's my reference. Way up there. There we go. There's the photograph that I'm going by. But of course, I'm not following it. Let me turn off this light for just a minute. That's still not very good. You're still getting glare from the windows behind me, but that's a little bit better. So a couple hours ago, before I ran out for an appointment, I didn't feel like I could proceed on this painting until I fixed some things. And what I basically fixed was I did a dark glaze, transparent paint, very transparent, right? In this case, I was using liquid, original, and did dark bluish, blue, purple, brown glaze up there, and then all down here. So the painting is much darker than it was just a few minutes ago. Static again. Whoa, 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 whoa. Thank you, Uncle. Let's try this. Hello, by the way. Let me know if that gets better. I just unplugged the power. I still am flying without my Mevo camera, so not up to not having the equipment I prefer. All right, but I'm going to do some more glazes. So this is, the glaze I did a couple hours ago is not dry, it's tacky. But I want to do some here in the subject matter, in the light area of the painting. Now, if I am bonkers about glazing. It's almost like the lost secret of oil painting, in my opinion, in the 20th century. People ought to, in my opinion, people ought to glaze all the time. I don't mean literally all the time, but throughout the whole painting process. So what I'm doing right now is warm yellow. It's Indian yellow with a little bit of Scarlet Lake. Just warming up all of this. It looks better already. The painting looks better already. And in a few minutes, it'll even look better than that. I'm also doing some glazing in the clouds here. Perhaps you can see. Is the sound better now? Good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Rachel. Appreciate that. Thank you for that. I don't have an in-ear monitor either today, which is what I normally like. Okay, this won't take very long. Let's get this over with real quickly. But yeah, the painting, happy to say the painting looks better already, just with that little bit. The next thing I'm going to do, hey, Thinker88, great question. Thank you for bringing that up. No, if I am doing translucent instead of transparent, I don't call it glazing. I call that scumbling. Yeah, scumbling, because translucent is actually opaque paint. The paint itself normally is opaque. It's just applied very thinly. So that infers scumbling technique. So very good question. No, I do draw that distinction. Glazing is always crystal clear, glass, clear like glass. So the next thing I'm going to do is pick up a rag and erase, quote unquote, right? You know I don't like that term erasing, but I'm using it just to make the quick point. I'm going to lift out a little bit of what I just put on. I want to. So again, a couple hours ago, I did the dark glazes right before I ran out the door for an appointment. And this is going to be a short broadcast too, because I'm running out the door to the eye doctor. Just a regular checkup here. The painting improved markedly. I was greatly relieved. The painting, the painting had been working on me. Is scumbling medium different than glazing medium? Yes. For scumbling, I don't use, that's SC. SC is in cow. I know you can't tell exactly with what letters I'm saying here. Scumbling is no medium, opaque paint. So straight out of the tube, generally speaking. You could add a little bit, but generally it's opaque paint, so no medium at all. Okay, so right now, what I'm doing now is then erasing, lifting out, making areas. I've just made a whole bunch of the city buildings darker. Now I'm coming in and making them little areas lighter. I like to say this, when you paint in this manner, lifting out paint, you get all the advantages and benefits of being a control freak, because you're able to control so precisely the color and the value by how hard you rub, by how long you rub. You get all the benefits of control freak painting without the downside of control freak painting, which is, it looks like control freak. All right, I think that's all. Now, I think that's all of the glazing. I'm going to continue painting here. And again, whew, big relief. I started to tell you, the painting's been working on me. I painted on it all day Saturday and then looked at it all day Sunday and Monday. And I wasn't as thrilled with it. Do you know what that feeling? It's like, it's a good painting, but man, it's not blockbuster. It's not a home run. It's not spectacular. And it was bothering me. Turns out, because I've taught this many times in the past, when you have a painting that's in that state that I just described, now assuming that's not a drawing issue. The drawing is good, assuming the composition is good. So the big obvious errors, that's not it. Drawing's good, drawing's accurate, and composition, that's another subject. Major, large, and dark areas can be defined in one shape. If those things are good, but it's still not cooking, just not sizzling, it's not a home run, 80% of the time, it's a values problem, lights and darks. And 80% of those times, it's a not dark enough darks values problem. So most of the time, it's because the painting doesn't have enough darks. That's just not a scientific formula, but speaking from experience. So a couple hours ago, I darkened the sky. I darkened all of this. Again, transparent, that's the key thing. Transparent glazes, purple, green, brown, blue glazes, all down here, and the painting got so much better. And just a few minutes ago, I warmed this up. Let me turn this off again so maybe you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, and it got better again. So warmed all this up and then lifted out just a few spots that I wanted to be highlights. Now, I want to talk about, because when I did the dark a little while ago, I began to see a composition issue, if you will. I don't know whether to call it a problem or just something that needed fixing. What's the difference between a problem and something that needs, or something that can be improved? And here it is. Compositional issue. Just a little bit of scribbling there. One of the tricks, and I really learned this most clearly from my good buddy Mike Rooney, who we paint together every year for a week at Ocracoke. I've done this for 6 years in a row, I think. You can Google him, Mike Rooney, Cape Cod School, fun guy, good artist, great guy. We have a ball together, and I learned this concept from him, but I'm going to use my language. In fact, I could have called this broadcast "The Power of the Isthmus." Okay, what am I saying? We're talking geography. This is a word we learned in junior high geometry. Geography. Okay, an isthmus is a narrow strip of land between two bodies of water. That's the word. ISTHMUS. Isthmus. Horrible word, okay, but do you got the picture now? What's a famous isthmus in America? Part of Cape Cod. It's a peninsula, but it gets skinny, then it gets wide again. That could be called an isthmus. I'm not prepared to answer that question, so sorry, I shouldn't have asked it. The power of isthmus in the realm of composition. What am I talking about? Stick with me. So this composition of this painting right now, and I need to back you up just a little bit so you can see the whole thing. The composition is very simple. It's a one mass painting. Okay? Light surrounded by darkness. Very, very, very simple. An isthmus is if I can find some way to connect this midtone, this is not dark, nor light, this is light, this is midtone, to connect this midtone with this is a row of houses down here in the trees. If I can connect those two, very often my composition gets stronger. And then the only other area of light in the painting is this green grassy field down here. Now it's all in shade, so when I say light, it's relative, but it's a midtone. So I have light, midtone, midtone, and midtone. And if I can create some kind of isthmus of midtone to connect these two and these two, it's very likely that my painting will improve. Now, exactly how to do that, I'm not sure, but we're talking values here, not color. We're talking values. So I'm going to start with the easiest solution to this, the most obvious, which is to add some light green here. I've already got some light green, see? But it gets broken here, so bring that down here a little bit further. Now, let me point something out right now. Again, any of you student painters, if you're watching right now, let me be real clear about something. Do I, the artist, do I know that this is going to be good, spectacular, fantastic? Do I know that it's going to work? And the answer is no, not really. When my grandchildren say to me, Bigka, if they call me Bigka, why'd you do that when they're watching me painting? The answer is because I think it's going to make the painting better. That's the true answer. I think it's going to make the painting better. That's too light. Let me darken that a little bit. Okay? So I don't want some of you to think, oh, he knows. Every time he knows what he's going to do is going to be, again, a home run, to use that analogy. No, I don't. I think it's going to, and it's because I know the principle. The principle I'm referring to right now is, what to call it? It has to do with composition. It's the principle of connecting value masses. It's the principle of making your values your value shapes simple. again, that's an entire other lecture, which I'd be delighted to give another time. If you just keep watching me, that's one of the subjects I come back to most often, is the subject of composition. And I'll come back to that again. I don't want to give that whole lecture right now. All I'm saying right now is one of the rules is that if you can cause, here we go, fresh sentence, pause. Make your major light and dark shapes simple. In fact, comma, if you can make them singular, that's even better. In other words, here's what I'm working toward. I think that just a simple light blob, which would be the one-word description of my composition right now. It's dark painting, one light blob. Let me turn this off again so you can see it. It's okay, but it's not, singular blob is not necessarily a great composition. But I'm thinking, if I can turn the blob into I don't know what to call it now, a fish hook, a capital J, sort of, do you see on its side? By connecting here, so that this light area connects with this slightly light area, and this connects with this. And if those are all connected, I'm thinking it's going to be better composition. And I was saying a minute ago, I think it's going to be better composition. We're all going to find out together if this is true. So I'm operating on my understanding of principle. It remains to be seen whether it actually works or not. I think it will. So do you see I've just added a little bit of the light for some reason is hitting this area of trees. This is dark trees here, but light trees here. So we get down to these houses. Now I'm going to do two things at least. I'm going to, in addition to that, just to create this isthmus. I'm sorry to keep having to say that awkward word. It's a difficult word to pronounce. Isthmus. Anybody whose English is not your first language, we apologize for our language. It's a mess. We agree. But it's all y'all's fault. It's all you Germans' fault, and all you French people, your fault, and your Latin-speaking people, it's your fault, because we just took all your languages and mashed them up together, didn't we, in English? All right, so I've got a dull, sort of dirty orange on my brush right now. So I want to strengthen, like you can barely see it right now, I want to strengthen this, what I'm calling it an isthmus, a narrow strip of light. So I'm strengthening it with some orange building color, the colors of these buildings back here. And I don't have to define, I don't have to do any, I'll bring you in close so you can see. I don't have to put windows in here or anything like that. Boy, you're still just getting all glare. I'm sorry, that's the difficulty of painting, with a lot of this liquid medium. It makes the painting so shiny. And it's hard for me to get a good broadcast. I can't now. I'm going to leave that for the moment. I'm going to do another modification. This time I'm going to mix up some pale blue to pretend, if you will, because none of this that I'm doing right now, none of this is reflected in the painting. In the photograph. None of this is reflected. I've got my photograph up here. This isthmus is not at all indicated. But I've got these houses down here. And if I can sneak one up in here that is a white house in deep, deep shadow. So therefore it's blue. Again, just so that I have an excuse to get a little bit more light. Now on that little bit of detail right there, I do need some, on those houses, I do need a little bit of detail for them to look like something. So I'm going to do a little bit of a, whoops, that's way too intense, a little bit of a gable, a window, just so people think, oh yeah, those are houses. I get it, those are houses. And give them just enough information so that they feel like it's a house, but I haven't drawn it all out for them. Now, I will probably be working on this area for a while, getting it to be just, so it looks, again, so it looks like a light area, so that it looks like here, houses, little bits of houses, and so on. I'm going to come back and do some, and I won't keep you watching me while I'm doing all of that. Back to some green now, light green. I'm going to leave that for a moment and I want to do one more. Yes. Guys just got dropped completely on the floor. Sorry, you got dropped on the two of them. Whew. Sorry about that. Wow, what a mess. Sorry about that. All right, the other, wow, sorry about that. All right, the other isthmus that I want is between this row of houses and this grassy field. And I don't think this will be quite as difficult because I have already, it's already there quite a bit. I just want to strengthen it a little bit so that our eye perceives a little pathway of light. I'm calling an isthmus here between this area and this area. So we'll see. Will this make the painting smashing? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it's worth trying. If it doesn't, then of course I will continue to mess with it and modify it until it does. I'm going to do a little tiny bit of detail in these houses, but not much. They're almost finished as they are, because I don't want too many hard edges. And then, of course, a little bit of light on this grassy field here in the foreground. Foreground, of course, is a relative term here. This grassy field is probably 200 yards from us, from the viewer in this particular scene, but it's about almost as foreground as this painting gets, because it's a deep painting. These trees are maybe 100 feet from us. All right, I'm going to stop there, and I need to run away to a dental appointment. So I'll try to let you see the painting and see if it's improved any. I believe it is. I have a very strange dialog box on my phone that says rotate the camera, and I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. All right, a few comments. Yep, David, I was doing exactly what you said, making this, I'm not sure I'm going to go yellow, but I made it yellower. All right, and unfortunately, I'd rather keep painting, but I do need to run off to the eye doctor. So I'll wrap this broadcast up here and hopefully be back later this afternoon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.